it takes an element of vulnerability to try new things, because you're going to go and present yourself to the world and the people you usually see every day, and you're going to feel a little awkward because you look different and they know you look different, and that's really vulnerable. But I think it's amazing because it means you're strong. It means you're confident enough to try. Like, it means you can. All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I'm on the blog called Mrs. Midwest. Today we are going to be doing a very exciting video, one that I have had in mind since the beginning of summer, and that is the ultimate feminine lifestyle glow up. How can we integrate femininity into various sections of our life so we can amplify our joy, our confidence, and truly just step into our most feminine self? How does femininity apply to relationships, our souls, our life, all of those kind of things? But I thought it would be really great to just have a general video that you guys can return to that just has a rubric of some of the most basic things you can be doing for your femininity as a whole. And why am I passionate about this? Well, of course, it is something that I have done myself. I am not speaking as a master of femininity or as a master of the glow up, but rather just as someone who has experience in this department. I am a person who has gone through my own glow up. I am much happier, much more vibrant. I am much more confident and much more feminine than I was 5 to 10 years ago. I owe that to a lot of the tips I'm going to be giving you guys in this video today. But first, I do want to pause and say thank you to Lily Silk for sponsoring today's video. I love to save Lily Silk sponsorships for femininity related videos because I believe they are such a complimentary brand to the feminine lifestyle. So I'm going to tell you more about their products. I'm going to show you what they sent me. I am currently wearing a Lily Silk blouse that I just absolutely adore. I think it's so flattering, so pretty. So thank you to Lily Silk for sponsoring today's video. I am actually so thrilled. Lily Silk products are made with 100% pure natural mulberry silk, and let me tell you, this brand knows silk. And I love that they solely focus on silk and silk products because they've truly mastered how to incorporate silk into our wardrobes, beauty routines, and even our homes, so we can just be doused in the most natural and luxurious fabric. So, starting with the silk knitted matching bra panty set for women, I just have to say, these are my favorite undergarments. Breathable, luxurious, and supportive. I've been obsessed ever since they sent me my first bra a year ago. Silk is hypoallergenic, breathable, and so easy on the skin. I love wearing this bra panty set during the day or even when I sleep. I was also sent the heatless silk curling headband and scrunchie set. I've always been curious to try one of these, and this product did not disappoint. I did my blowout routine on totally straight hair and then used it for a few hours and got the most beautiful waves. It worked so well and was really easy to use. It was so comfortable, and I feel like sometimes these look really uncomfortable and you worry how you're going to sleep in it. Don't even worry. It was so comfortable. It was so gentle on my hair. And the first time I tried twisting my hair around, I figured it out. It's really user-friendly, simple. I'd honestly recommend this product over competitor satin versions because it's just going to be even less friction on your hair. And also so healthy to sleep next to all night, being that it's silk. Moving on to clothing, I was generously gifted the nipped waist crepe de chine blouse. It is an 18 mom soft double layer crepe silk blouse, which pleats and cuts the waist for a vintage elegant look. It has a feminine sweep to it and is beyond flattering for curves. I adored the way it draped. The cuffs are so pretty, and I really think this is a flattering style on me. Likewise, I can't get enough of the minimalist aesthetic silk poppy skirt. It's a 22 mom charmeuse silk skirt, glossy, smooth, and soft, unlined with a slit. I think this is such a polished minimal style that adds a big impact to your outfit, and I felt gorgeous. The 22 mom mid-length silk robe is also a new favorite of mine for lounging at home. It's breathable, so I'm not sweating while enjoying my morning routine, and I truly feel so elegant even while doing just normal things at home. The pillowcases as well need to be highlighted here as a complete game changer. If there's one reason my hair is this length, it is the pillowcases. Even better than cotton, silk is the queen of fabrics. Soft, hypoallergenic, antibacterial, biodegradable, and breathable. It is such a treat to have silk surrounding you all 8 hours of your sleep at night. You feel refreshed in the morning, and if your husband is bald like mine, let me tell you, he will love sleeping on silk. Lily silk is so lightweight and durable, long-lasting. I really can't say enough good things about it. I love that they partner with TerraCycle for a no-waste recycling program, and they just really seem environmentally conscious as well as conscious of our overall health. So as we're building up our elegant feminine wardrobes, it's always a great idea to add silk to your life. Lily Silk has given me an extra 12% off everything Lily Silk using my code Midwest12, or you can get 15% off for orders over $350 with code MW15 off. So check the description below for extra details about that. And don't forget, if you want your Lily Silk packaged in a gift box, you absolutely can. So thank you so much to Lily Silk for partnering with me in today's video. Don't forget to check the description and the pinned comment below. That's where you can get all the details on the wonderful promotions and deals you can get with my code. And this partnership with Lily Silk is just such a dream come true. So thank you. And let's get back to the topic at hand. So full lifestyle glow up. I've talked about all these things individually. I'm not an expert, but I am a person who's been heavily and positively influenced and impacted by integrating femininity into my life in a way that I feel like I've just stepped into, just the best version of myself. And I really want that for all of you. So I believe femininity can have a positive impact on your life as a woman, so much so that it can cause a total glow up. And that's because femininity is very nurturing. It allows you to blossom. It allows you to free up your soul. And I've seen comment after comment, email after email from a lot of you that my videos and tips about femininity have had a positive impact on your lives as well. So it really got me thinking, if we're going to take a more bird's eye view of femininity and how we can integrate it into our lives. And I am going to be speaking from my perspective. I can't change that. I am a married Christian mother of two. I'm a homemaker. I'm going to be as balanced as possible, but some of this stuff is definitely going to be weighted more to my perspective. So that being said, if you're different than me, if you have a different lifestyle, beliefs, backgrounds, and you're noticing some holes in this advice that you want to fill in the gaps, please leave your comments below. You guys know that I appreciate and love the different perspectives we gather in our comment section. It's a lot. We're biting off a lot today, but we're going to start with something that you might not see coming. And honestly, I think this is the first thing that everyone needs to do when you're trying to have a femininity glow up in your life, and that is to clear out the clutter. Now, am I talking about your closet? Yes. But am I also talking about the bad relationships in your life? Also, yes. Am I talking about your social media following or your negative thinking? Yes, yes, yes. When I say clear out the clutter, I am referencing anything that can harm your femininity glow up. The things preventing you from leaning into that sensitive, nurturing, blossoming energy in your life. And I don't use energy in a new age way. I use it in kind of a way to describe the noun of being feminine, the way you carry yourself, the way you spend your time, the way you interact with other people. Sometimes the things in our life can hold us back from really nurturing our souls and nurturing the people around us. And yes, sometimes I'm looking at my closet right now. Sometimes that is a closet full of clothes that does not reflect who you are. Sometimes it is friendships of people who are just leading you down the wrong path. Sometimes it's even friends who just don't like you that much and you feel terrible after you hang out with them. Or a boyfriend who's just not it and you're scared of being single, so you hold on to him for years. This can mean so many different things, but I know that when I say clutter, something is coming to your mind. Something comes to my mind. So I really encourage you. I love to journal. I encourage you to journal. Take out your journal, take out your notes app, and write clutter at the top. And think of all the different things that you need to declutter in your life. Yes, it can be physical, practical, in-person things. Like my nightstand over there is kind of just messy inside in the drawers. Our closets, things like that. But then also friendships, who we follow online, how we spend our time, Declutter your life. Get rid of the mess. Make space for new relationships, for new opportunities, for new feminine clothing, or for yourself to just be less overstimulated so you can rest. For me in motherhood, I had to declutter some of the things in my life. I had to streamline things, and it made life easier for me so I could blossom, my kids could blossom. Our life is just different, and that's the thing. As you go through life, you're going to have different seasons where you change and transform, and some things are just not going to serve you anymore. And yes, that can be like things in your closet. Other times it can be, like I keep saying, like actual relationships. And this doesn't mean you have to cut off people or be a monster, but if you notice that some things are just holding you back, or they're tugging you down into a place where you don't like resonate with anymore, it's okay to move forward from those relationships. It's okay to change how you spend your time. You don't have to stay stagnant in who you once were. And that's the thing about a femininity lifestyle glow up. It's going to look different for everybody, but you're going to look different before and after. So don't go into this expecting it to just be simple, like putting on lipstick and moving on with your life. Oftentimes with glow ups and before and after and working hard makeover of your life, it takes hard work. It takes hard decisions. And I know that sometimes it can be difficult to make those decisions. I've had to move on from certain like really toxic, harmful relationships in my life, and it wasn't easy, and I didn't want to do it. But after a couple years of freedom from those situations, I can say that I'm so much happier. I'm so much better for it. The Lord prunes. He prunes things out of your life. So if you're a believer like me, take time to pray about this too. Like, God, what do you want to prune out of my life? And be open to what that could mean. Sometimes it even means, your relationship might not be what God wants for you. As we want to blossom, we need to create a correct environment to blossom. And oftentimes being really overstimulated with mess, being unorganized, it can prohibit and harm your femininity journey, but also just the sense of being nurtured. It's difficult to be nurtured in a really messy, chaotic environment. So you want to provide some order to your life. And yes, that can be even digitally add some order to your life, or maybe you're just too busy and you need to say no. Declutter all of that. This also includes objects. I went through a season, I have a blog post on this. I went through a season where I had to get rid of some things in my life and in my house that when I looked at them, they brought me actual emotional pain because of the memories associated with those clothes or an object that someone had given me. And then that person went on to like totally smash my heart to smithereens. And every time I saw that thing, I just felt sad. And I think sometimes it's hard to get rid of those kind of things because it's like, oh, but then I have to buy a new like dish set or have to buy a new whatever. But let me tell you, it is worth it. It is worth it to donate that stuff. Get it out of your house, get it out of your heart and mind and eyesight so that you can just be free. Because I think sometimes we don't realize how much those objects can like hold power over us, and not in like a spiritual way necessarily, but just if something like causes you to feel a negative emotion when you look at it, get rid of it. It does not belong in your house. It's hard to have a femininity, joy, peace, nurturing, blossoming, vibrancy, glow up if you are bogged down by those kind of emotional things, okay? So it's really important. Identify the things in your life. This could even be clothing. To my postpartum or pregnant mamas, is if those jeans in your closet are just haunting you and making you feel horrible about yourself, I hereby give you permission to get rid of them. Donate. Some other beautiful person is going to go to that thrift store and just have the time of their life, okay? Don't let those things hold you back. It's okay to invest in yourself. It's good to invest in yourself because the people around you, we want you to be happy, okay? You don't need to put your family in the poorhouse buying a new wardrobe. Like, be wise in this, but it's okay to get rid of things that are holding you back. It's okay to, buy new clothes, new makeup, whatever, change your look up. Decluttering can also mean like decluttering your lifestyle in the sense of you're just too busy. Your kids are too busy. You're too busy. You barely see your husband. That's actually how I became a homemaker. I worked a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. It was really like 8 to 6. And my husband worked night shift, 6 to 6. So we would see each other every couple days and every other weekend, and it was horrible. So we decluttered my life. I became a homemaker. My life got infinitely better, and my femininity and glow up and all that stuff journey started. But it was because we made the hard decision to put relationship and nurturing and being a blossoming, vibrant person over something that I thought I had to do, work traditionally. So this is going to look different for every single person. And I cannot state that enough. And I never do state that enough on my channel, but it's going to be different. Okay. So as I'm talking to you guys right now, and I'm thinking of decluttering, yes, I am more thinking of in-person physical stuff because I'm in this room and I think there's some clutter in these dressers and drawers. And nothing is too trivial. So even if you don't have like, oh, that one friend I hang out with treats me terrible, so I'm going to set boundaries, and that's how I'm going to declutter my life. Some of you are going to have something really serious like that. Some of you are going to be like me, where your silverware drawer has crumbs in it and you need to clean it out, okay? But this matters for a femininity journey because it's about taking ownership over your life and being in charge, because femininity is a grown woman thing. It's not for little girls. It's a grown woman thing. And as you fully mature into it, it's going to require responsibility. It's going to require, yes, resting and being soft. But in order to do that, we must set up the nest. We must set up the great environment. And that's something I learned from being pregnant and having those hormones and wanting to nest. Like when you're pregnant, you're like in the most feminine state like you'll be in your life. And those hormones are just powering through your body, and it's telling you to prepare your home and your space for your baby, right? Do that for yourself. You are the baby. You are baby. Nest for yourself. Nest for yourself in your house. Nest in your relationships. Make things safe. Make things orderly and clean and pleasant. Your family will benefit, yes, but you will benefit. And if you need help, have a friend come over and help you purge. I wish I could come. I love to purge people's houses. I wish I could come to your house and like we could try on clothes and I could say like, do you love it or do you like not? Okay, keep, donate, throw out. That's like what my mom would do. She would come into my room when I was like a teenager and we'd purge and we'd keep, throw out, donate. Do that. And think about it too, like I said, for the more serious things. What's not serving you? What's going well? All of that. Declutter, because we need to clear things out before we can rebuild. Because if you have this like really confusing wardrobe that is holding you back, don't go out shopping and transform just yet. Go through your wardrobe and declutter. Just like with, your friendships as you want to rebuild, or your stuff on your phone or whatever. Get rid of all the crud first, and then we can build from there. So the first step should always be declutter. We're going to keep going with this. Your diet, your exercise routine, what is not serving you? Is your evening routine not serving you? What's not serving you in your life? And then declutter. And then we're going to build back up. So just declutter. Think about this. Brainstorm. It's going to be different for everybody. Okay, after that, it's time to rest. I know that seems counter logical or illogical, maybe. It doesn't seem like the next logical step, but it is. Because most of us have been running on fumes. Most of us are probably stressed out. And if you're trying to nurture yourself and you're trying to dive into your femininity, it's a very overwhelming process. So after you declutter, after you identify some things that need to just go by, rest, engage with nature. This is going to get your sensitive, creative side like going a little bit. It's good to go outside to tap into that whimsy again, that childlike joy, and just nurture your physical body and your soul by resting and engaging with nature. This is so important. It is an overlooked step, and it is something that I think everybody, man or woman, child, young, old, doesn't matter, would benefit from. This is why I go on so many walks. Where do you think I come up with all these ideas? It's as I'm powering through the flower field and thinking. Okay? It's where you process. And when you're outside and you're away from the digital world and you're away from all the information or work stress or school stress or family and friends, it's where you can just process. Okay? So I was actually just in New York City. Nature looks different there, yes, than someone like me in the Midwest. But all of us can find a tree to sit under. All of us can go near the water or something. Just Get some space. Rest. Rest also includes napping. I know that that's like a funny kind of piece of advice, but I read it in the Empowered Wife book and I stand by it. Laura Doyle, she has this wonderful book called The Empowered Wife. I've talked about it many times on my channel, but literally one of her tips for like stressed out wives is to just take a nap. And I love how simple that is. And I'm passing on the information and that tip to all of you. It is her advice, but take naps, rest. This stuff seems silly. It seems like silly advice because it's not like, okay, go do 10 burpees and this is how you invest in money and this is how you save and this is how you get healthy and juice cleanse and all this stuff. It's not intensity, but it has an intensely profound impact on your life. Taking a nap is so much more than resting your body. It is communicating to your mind, body, soul, you deserve relaxation. You deserve rest. Not about earning, just you inherently are allowed to rest. That's a feminine thing because it's about being gentle with yourself, nurturing yourself, and not running on this like chaotic fumes, you know? I had to realize that I need more rest than my husband. I need more rest, and that is totally fine. And now I indulge and engage in rest wherever I can get it. When I was newly postpartum with both children, we hired a mother's helper to come in so that I could rest. I think a lot of us feel like we need to earn our place in our lives by working as hard as possible in our families, in our work, or whatever. And it can feel like we're just not allowed to rest. Or maybe we tell ourselves we don't need to rest. But part of taking responsibility and growing up is acknowledging that we're human, we're not perfect, and we are not super women, and nor do we have to be. If you're in a position where you literally cannot take a rest, I really encourage you to find 5 minutes to just listen to a relaxing song or ambiance music or just nature sounds, or get some sun on your face and just close out your mind. Close out the tabs of your mind and just rest. This is so important as a second step for an ultimate feminine lifestyle glow up because it's where you're able to just let your mind process your life. I spent my first year as a homemaker. I wasn't a mom yet, and I wasn't even on YouTube. I primarily rested that year. I started my glow up because I'd been through the most treacherous, horrible year of my life. And I was like scarred, like PTSD after. It was so bad. I was grieving. It was just really dark. And it was amazing because the Lord provided a time in my life then, that year after, where I could just breathe and I rested and I processed so much of what I'd been through. And I think so many of us are just chugging through life, like hitting milestone after milestone after milestone, like high school, college, marriage, baby, work. Like it's just never ending. And you're not really able to process the events in your life. And I just encourage you to take time to rest so that your mind palace can even just blossom and sprawl and think. And yes, this means turning off the news, turning off the chug-a-chug loudness of your social media feeds, whatever social media you use. You know, that's important. I know, especially in the homemaking Christian space, a lot of people can be really tuned into the goings on of the world. And while it's good to be informed, I think sometimes that can really increase cortisol and stress and anxiety. And it's the opposite of rest. So try to have boundaries too, where you learn how to weave rest into your routine. Because after we declutter, you're going to have to learn how to include rest. Resting is a very feminine thing. It is something that is essential to a feminine life glow up. Learn what rest means for you. It could be like, I like to take walks outside. I like to take naps. I like to watch a very like low key K-drama, or I like to just be with my kids, pet my dog, that kind of stuff. Not always feeling the need to be productive. Why do you think I don't always like post on YouTube? It's because your girl is mothering, wifing, and resting. I do make that a priority. And yes, I understand it's a privilege. It's a privilege to rest, which is why I think if you are underprivileged in the area of time, you don't have time for this or money, treat yourself to these 5-10 minute increments, because it is going to increase your overall warmth and gentleness, because your soul is going to feel less stretched thin when you include some intentional rest in your life. I actually observe the Sabbath. That's how I fit in my rest. I've always observed the Sabbath. Some Christians do, some Christians don't. I don't work on Sundays. We just make do. I still am a parent and a wife, but I don't do like chores. I don't do stuff, and I feel so recharged after. And I really think when you pair it with spending time in creation, it's like a magnificent combination. Creation and rest together. I just like when I rest at home, it's good. But when I go outside and I'm like breathing fresh air and like the wind and the sun, like even in the winter, there's cream of the crop. There's nothing better. Okay, the third category. This is a little more hard hitting. So, feminine glow up when it comes to relationships. This is going to cover the gamut: romantic relationships, friendships, parental relationships, familial relationships. How to have a feminine glow up: self respect in all of them. And I know a lot of people know, okay, romantic relationships, self respect, yeah. But I'm including all the different relationship dynamics in this category. Feminine glow up is about fully like maturing into adult womanhood. It's about taking responsibility. And if you want to be a nurturing space for yourself and others, if you want yourself to be nurtured, if you want to live into your gentleness and your warmth and all of that good stuff, you need to have boundaries and dignity. And self-respect is just the foundation for all of that. Women can get confused with femininity or the traditional relationship dynamics, like, oh, okay, I just have to let my man like do his thing and I have to follow him no matter what because I want a traditional relationship. But the reality is that you need to have self-respect regardless of what your preferred relationship dynamic is. Just because you want a traditional relationship dynamic does not mean you should not have self-respect. It doesn't mean you can't find umbrage with the guy you're dating, like what he does. It doesn't mean that once he asks you to be his girlfriend, he can start treating you poorly. No. Have deal breakers. Have deal breakers in your relationship where you have the self-respect to create clear, firm boundaries. So yes, obvious things like cheating, emotional cheating, like other things like pushing you against your boundaries, like physically or even emotionally, forgetting your birthday over and over, never paying for stuff, whatever bothers you or is not cool, or if he breaks your trust, those kind of things. Yes, I think forgiveness is important, but your boyfriend is not your husband. You can get rid of him. You can replace him. There's nothing wrong with that. I think sometimes there's just this scary blind loyalty with girls who want to be traditional because they want that marriage so badly that they'll overlook bad things. Let me tell you that if Husbear had exhibited things that were like against my deal breakers, I wouldn't have married him just because I wanted to get married, okay? So it's really important to get to know a man and to get to know him well, because now that I'm a mom, I can see even more like how serious it is, like who you choose to marry. I always thought it was serious, like you're spending the rest of your life with this person, but that's also going to be the father to your children. I've been pushing this point a little bit more recently, and I'm not going to stop. And that is, just because a man says he's a Christian doesn't mean he like gets a free pass on shady behavior. Okay, so look at him objectively. Don't get your rose-colored glasses on because he says he's a Christian or he's in church, like doing his thing. Really consider the content of his character. Is this a moral man? I do not care how tall your man is, how good looking he is, how like spiritual he seems to be. All that I care about is that you guys choose a moral man who loves you and would literally lay down his life for you. There's a concept in Christianity that's scriptural, meaning it's found in scripture, that the husband should lay down his life the way Christ lays down his life for the church. In Christianity, we believe that sacrificial love is the prerequisite a husband should have for his wife. And that is something that like I said, more now that I have kids, can really see is so important. Because as you go through life, you're going to be in so many vulnerable states, like giving birth and being pregnant and having a baby to take care of. So many men, I think we think, oh yeah, he'd lay down his life to protect me. But would he change a diaper? Would he watch the kids so you can go work out? Will he be there for you when you're pregnant and postpartum? Will he buy you a nice birthday gift? Will he take care of you? Those things are really important to remember, whether or not you guys are traditional like me and my husband or not. It's important to be with somebody who will put you as a priority. Okay. And part of a femininity glow up includes, like I said, rest. It includes living more into your sensitivity and your gentleness and your warmth and creating a space to nurture others. And that means that you're going to probably be wanting a more masculine man. True masculine men can still help you as you go through these things in life. It doesn't mean that they don't lift a finger to help the family just because they're out there having a job. I don't believe that. I've never believed that. And especially if both of you are working, you should be both helping with the house. You should be working together as a team. So femininity glow up doesn't mean we're just going to become a doormat and then be with some guy that we just have to like serve like we're a slave. No. Femininity glow up is actually about like increasing your standards. So you meet someone who you feel safe with and who will sacrificially take care of you in a good way so that you can like let him lead the relationship, because that's the dynamic in as you lean into your femininity and you want a masculine man, you want someone who leads the relationship. You can't let an unsafe, selfish man lead your relationship, because then you will be in a precarious, unsafe situation. Okay, don't let just any man scoop you up into his life and like whisk you away. You need to have self-respect here, so you choose an excellent man who's worthy of your heart. So also self-respect on a more general basis. Yeah, like avoiding hookup culture, avoiding letting a man use you for your body and then discarding you, avoiding letting someone like string you along for years. Like, oh yeah, we'll talk about marriage later. We'll talk about marriage later. Make sure that you have the self-respect to choose someone who has your goals in mind, who wants you to be happy, who like shares your vision for the future. It's going to look different for everybody. As I keep saying, hubby and I wanted kids a little bit younger. Some people want to have them older. Some people want a ginormous family. Some people want a small family. Some people don't want kids at all. Just make sure that you guys are on the same page and don't settle in this area. You need to be attracted to him too. That's important. Don't overlook that. But it is important to really look at the heart of people. And that's part of diving into your femininity, is looking a little deeper at life, at yourself, at your potential man, at your friendships, and seeing the quality underneath all these things. What is the character? Because all of this stuff, the clutter in your life, your stressed outness or lack of rest, and your romantic or like partner or friendship relationships, all of this impacts you, and it impacts your character, and it impacts your like responses to life and how you enjoy life. And that's why all of this stuff matters. And we don't have control over the behavior of other people. We don't have control over what our husbands are going to do. We don't have control over our friends. But if we choose people who are moral and upstanding and selfless and gentle and wonderful to be around, we will be in a safer position to just relax into those relationships and to be vulnerable and to just enjoy life. Okay, so I think sometimes because we can't control other people, we can get scared and we can have a lot of anxiety, or we can avoid relationships altogether, or maybe choose a bad person. But just know, you can choose somebody who's great, and they're not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a safer position for you to really lean into your femininity. I was not able to lean fully into my femininity until my marriage with husband, because my other relationships, either the guy was like kind of selfish, or they were a little bit more like wanting me to lead the relationship. And so I just always felt like off balance. And so finding my husband, it really just helped my femininity journey. And that's why I think the man you choose is so, so important. And self-respect is the bottom of that. And I think sometimes people hear self-respect, especially in the Christian community, and it can kind of seem like, oh, are we just talking about like being selfish or self-centered. And no, I think self-respect is the basis of protecting yourself, but also another person. Because if you won't let yourself be a doormat, that's a good thing, because people shouldn't be treating other people like a doormat. Having boundaries prevents that sin exchange from even happening in the beginning, okay? Self-respect. This also does apply to friendships. Like I keep saying, if you're hanging out with somebody, I've had this, and you leave and you feel terrible about yourself every single time, don't hang out with that person anymore. Okay, some of this stuff is unavoidable, like they live on your floor in college or they're in your class, like you can't get away. I get that. But try, when you make new friends, don't settle for friends that make you feel terrible about yourself, or you can kind of tell like you're always the butt of jokes, or they talk about you behind your back. Don't settle for that. Life is too short. I went through a big chunk of my life where I didn't have a lot of friends. That was okay, because I slowly made friends since I've moved here, and they all love me. They don't talk about me behind my back. They care about me. They have my back, all of that good stuff. And it was worth the wait. It's kind of like a romantic relationship. Like when you're single, it's worth the wait. It's better to be single than to be in a romantic relationship with a bad person. It's better to have like no friends or one friend than it is to have a bunch who they just bring you down. They make you feel worse about yourself, or they don't support you, or whatever. Parental relationships are different. Oftentimes we cannot like totally remove ourselves from these scenarios. And I know a lot of you struggle, maybe you want to be a homemaker someday and your mom is not about that. Those boomer moms, they want you to get that career. Fine. But you can always have boundaries. As an adult child, you can have boundaries. And I know it feels like you can't, because you still feel like a kid when you're around your parents, but it's okay to start enacting boundaries respectfully with your parents. Just, hey, I don't want to open up that conversation tonight. Like, let's just enjoy dinner together if they're pressuring you about something. If you're paying your own way, if you live in your own space, if you don't rely on them, it's okay and it's appropriate to start, enacting those boundaries. And that is a feminine thing, because it allows you to have less stress when you get together with your family, because you have boundaries. And the less stress is good. It lets you blossom. It lets you just be more carefree and like lean into your gentleness and your warmth instead of just being on edge. And that's what this video is really getting at. Like, how can we be less on edge in this like world, because so many of these relationships feel hostile. Like online dating feels so complicated and hostile. The news is hostile. Our environment feels hostile. Everything feels like it's just there to like make us be on edge. And that's horrible, because being on edge is literally the opposite of living into your femininity. So how can we live into our femininity? Protect your space so you can blossom and be vibrant. And I have so many videos about this. But this ultimate video, these are just some basic steps, like basic 101 for my classes on this. Like, how can we improve? How can we glow up femininely in like less obvious ways? And yes, setting boundaries is one of them. I do have a video about toxic people. Check it out. I think too, as you evaluate your relationships, romantic or otherwise, stepping into a femininity glow up sometimes includes vulnerability. So this is the other side of the coin. I'm talking about self-respect and boundaries and like whatever. But then there's also vulnerability. Vulnerability. Now, I'm not talking about oversharing, where we are oversharing with people we just met, or sharing our full life story to people who don't want to hear it, or people who don't deserve to hear it. But I am talking about vulnerability, being more open, being more warm, being more sweet, and having those childlike, joyful moments with people, like tapping into a less serious side of life, even with your romantic partner. Maybe sharing a little bit more about yourself. If you're a person who struggles with being too closed off, part of your femininity glow up will be about opening up. I do have a video about this. I think it's like feminine warmth and confidence. Opening up and showing that vulnerability, getting away from that bad bee kind of mentality. Vulnerability is an excellent way to increase the femininity in your relationships and cultivate a nurturing warmth where the other person feels like they can be vulnerable as well. All right, the next chunk, you knew this was coming. Incorporate obvious feminine things into your life. Need I say more? Not really, but I will. I have so many videos about beauty for this exact reason. Why? Because I think it like genuinely affects how you carry yourself how other people perceive you, and how you operate in this world, like how you do yourself up, but also your house, the things you carry, how you accessorize yourself, how you present. And I know there is so much resistance to this concept because like sometimes there's things outside of our control, or we want people to only look at the heart. And I understand that. I really do. But I also think on the flip side, we're stewards of what God has given us. We're stewards of these bodies. And there's nothing wrong with adorning yourself in a way where you can feel confident and beautiful. There's nothing wrong with wanting to stand out. There's nothing wrong with accentuating your beauty. There's nothing wrong. You don't need to be showy or haughty or prideful or like overly sensual, but it's okay to tap into your beauty. I think sometimes people are raised in an environment where their mom poo-poos beauty or thinks it's like evil or wrong. I am here to tell you, God made you beautiful. People can see that. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with putting on a nice floral dress. Go live your life, okay? Incorporating obvious feminine things around you, surrounding yourself with it, as well as adorning yourself in that way, creates a positive feedback loop where you feel feminine, you look feminine, you're acting feminine, and it just feeds off of itself. However, as you lean into feminine aesthetics, people will notice and they're going to say something. This is the key of a lot of people's glow up journeys of whether or not you're successful is what are you going to do when someone says something? Oftentimes, when someone says something, it's not necessarily negative, but most times we interpret it as negative because we feel insecure. So, for example, when I start changing the way I dress and I want to be a little more glam, someone says, "Why are you so dressed up?" And I have a choice to interpret that negatively, to let it make me feel terrible and to feel insecure, or to just say, "Oh, I just like dressing this way," and just practice confidence, even if I didn't feel it, even if I felt like small in that moment. Because sometimes people are trying to make you feel small. Sometimes they're just genuinely curious. Sometimes they're teasing you because they love you, whatever. We don't know the motivations of these people. All we know is that it is a fork in the road. It is a time where you're going to let that either tank your journey or just roll off and keep going. And I encourage you, if someone says something like that to you, like if you start doing your hair and they like say something, or if they notice like, oh, like you don't wear a lot of dresses lately, or why are you wearing heels, like whatever, picture me behind their head being like, don't listen to them, you look amazing, like keep going, yes, like I'm cheering for you. Everyone in our community is cheering for you. I would not be where I am now if I listened to those people. Even now, like sometimes I dress more alternative with my baggy graphic t-shirts. Sometimes I dress more glam, like with the nails. These are a little long for my taste, but I'm trying something new because you can't evolve if you don't try something new. And I get people who complain because they have a certain version of me, because I'm an online influencer, that they prefer. And I let it roll off my back. Because if I listened to every little thing, I'd be dressing and acting for other people. And that is the opposite of the purpose of a femininity journey. Okay, I had one girl comment on like 7 of my videos about how much she hated my haircut. I genuinely love this haircut. And if I would have listened to her, I would have gone and like grown out my bangs and just like been sad and felt awkward and embarrassed. But no, I just took it as, that's not her cup of tea and moved on with my life. And I really encourage you guys to do the same. It's not easy. You can feel a little uncomfortable. You can question your haircut for the rest of the day, but then you can like say, hey, is this a bad haircut to your friend? And they can give you an honest opinion and then you can move on. Okay. It's really, really, really important to, as you're trying to incorporate more femininity into your aesthetics, to know that this is going to happen. Expect it. Because it's better to expect it and to have it like never end up manifesting versus not see it coming and be totally taken off guard and like having it hamper your journey. If this has happened to you, leave your experience below. Encourage our other sisters. It's so common in the glow up space, in the femininity space, for people to feel uncomfortable by your growth. And in my opinion, it just kind of means like you're doing like something that's, I don't know, catching people's interest and attention. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And again, don't do this for the like desires of other people, okay? So that's why I keep saying it's going to look different for everybody. because some of us, we're going to end up like a little more glam. Like right now, I'm in my mom era. I'm like cruising up. I'm like gearing up to turn 30. I want to like be a little more glam. That's where I'm at right now. A few years ago, I wanted to be more like floral dresses natural, right? It's all femininity. It's just different expressions of it. And you can try out different things, and you're going to evolve and change even as you age, as you hit different life seasons. Like maybe you're going to be a fiance or a wifey. That's going to have a different like style for you. Maybe you're going to start a new job, or maybe like me, you got an e-bike this summer. And so wearing dresses literally makes no sense because you're always on your bike. Okay. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. Have fun with this. Fun, like warm curiosity and trying new things, all of that like is about, like I was talking about earlier, vulnerability. It takes an element of vulnerability to try new things, because you're going to go and present yourself to the world and the people you usually see every day, and you're going to feel a little awkward because you look different and they know you look different, and that's really vulnerable. But I think it's amazing because it means you're strong. It means you're confident enough to try. Like it means you care about yourself enough to put yourself first to try these things, and to, be curious about the potential you have. You never know your potential unless you try, okay? So it's really important just to let it roll off your back, but genuinely surround yourself with more feminine things. I am looking at floral curtains and a floral bedspread. Does my husband care? No. He's happy that I'm happy. Okay, so don't like let things hold you back, like the worries of other people. Have fun with it, and also maybe follow some feminine content creators. There are so many, I cannot list them all. On Instagram, on YouTube, we're all talking about the same stuff. It's all going to positively benefit your glow up journey. Okay, my last piece of advice is to identify your fears about this journey, and your triggers, like the things that cause you to not fully step into gentleness and warmth and being able to blossom. What's holding you back? Sometimes people are really afraid of change. Like I said, you're afraid of that person coming up and like noticing that you look different. Sometimes you might just have deep-seated insecurity, or you don't feel like you're worth putting the effort in, or you don't feel like you can dress like that, like that in that floaty way, because when you were a kid people saw you as a tomboy, or maybe you don't feel comfortable, or you feel like weirdly ashamed of showing like you're a woman. There's nothing wrong with having a womanly body, having curves and being a woman. Like there's no reason to hide or to feel insecure. And I think something that's kind of beautiful about a femininity glow up is it's almost like a second puberty, where the first puberty happens and it's kind of like against your will, and you're just like, what's happening? And there's so much going on. But a femininity glow up is like a second puberty, in the way that you can do it totally of your own like choice and your own journey, and you can experience womanhood in a way that makes sense to you, that fits your lifestyle. So as you go through this, identify your triggers and identify your goals. Identify where you want to end up, and kind of set out a blueprint for yourself. Like for me, as I'm turning like 30 in the next couple of years, I'm thinking like, what do I want that to be like? What kind of mom do I want to be like? Where do I want to be at in life? And for me, it's about being like mature and healing from my past, healing from my grief, and growing into a wise, emotionally stable woman, because that's how I want to be for my kids. I want to be emotionally stable, socially secure. All of those are my goals. What are your goals? What are the things that you want to improve? So many of you are in school. So many of you are career women. So many of you are single. You're going to have different goals than me, but they're just as worthy. They're just as valuable, and you can apply femininity to them regardless of whether or not you're a homemaker or ever plan on being one. We are women. Femininity applies to all of us. It's not just like homemaking wives and mothers. It's all of us. It's going to look different, but how does femininity apply to your life? What kind of like hobbies and things do you want to include into your life? I really encourage us all to, as we consider these goals, think of like things like our beauty and our relationships and our general demeanor, how we carry ourselves and our character, but also maybe how we fill our time. What kind of hobbies do you want to do to kind of bring out that inner vibrancy, that gentle warmth, creative curiosity, to nurture your inner child, your inner woman, whatever? because not all your hobbies need to be productive. I think there's this modern thing where you find something you like and you feel like you need to make money off of it. Like you make beaded bracelets, so you feel like you have to sell them, or you're doing pottery, so you feel like you have to sell it. Or maybe you think all hobbies need to be like with your hands, but all hobbies are not just like crafting. You can have other hobbies, even like things that honestly you might think aren't worthwhile or silly, but I believe anything that brings out that childlike joy and excitement and can fill your mind and your time with beautiful, like happy things is worthwhile. Even if it's like, say you're super into K-pop, so you talk to other K-pop fans on like some forum, or you're part of a fan club, or maybe you do like art or baking, or you like to garden, or you just like to read or research things. I make YouTube. Like, guys, Lily Silk, it's so awesome that they're sponsoring this video, but you guys know, like, I don't make a living wage off of this. This is not why I do it. I do it because it's my life-giving hobby that I've chosen for myself, because it makes me really happy and it brings out my femininity in a way that just is really wonderful. I've always loved public speaking. I've always loved video editing, and this uses those talents, okay? So that's my example. It's not just like baking or sewing or things like that. We're all going to have different like hobbies and things that we enjoy, and don't think that yours is silly. You know, it could be doing manicures, it could be doing your makeup, it could be like exercising. I haven't even really touched too much in exercise, but getting in touch with the body is a really wonderful way to connect with your femininity. So as you're creating your goals, as you're identifying your triggers, this is all about getting to know yourself better. And not in a way to just make excuses for yourself, but in a way where you can kind of navigate your trauma, your personality, your like worldview, your beliefs, your goals, all of that, to navigate all of that, to create a framework where you can like live into your femininity, your vibrancy, in a way that's truly going to bless you, like you. Notice how most of this video hasn't been about how like once you become this feminine, like amazing girl, you're gonna like snatch this awesome guy or have this wonderful, perfect marriage. No, this isn't about them. This is about you. This is about how this is going to benefit you, your spirit, your life. And yes, it is going to bless the people around you, because other people, in my opinion, benefit so much from having a vibrant feminine woman in their life who's nurturing herself and other people. But this is really just a way for you to grow into maturity and into responsibility, taking responsibility too for the flaws that you have. You need therapy, get therapy. I've gotten therapy. A lot of us are not raised in great homes. A lot of us have parents with personality disorders that affected how we perceive and relate to other people. Therapy is not to be ashamed of. It's good to journal if you need medication. I am for growth no matter what it means for you, but it's about becoming more secure in your femininity and in your womanhood. And before we close out too, I just want to really emphasize community, because it's something that I was really convicted about a few years ago. I've talked about this a lot recently, but having community has really totally escalated my growth as an adult woman. Having friends that I can count on, you know, people beyond just my husband, or family members, just friends who really care about me. And let me tell you that the first community I found, like before I made friends here in my town in person, it was online. It was with some of you. It was with my online homemaking friends. You guys in the comments, that's how I started my channel. I needed community. It was my hobby. I needed a place to talk about this stuff. And you can find community in unorthodox ways. That's why I love the internet so much. But I really encourage you to find people who care about the things you care about and who treasure your soul. Because sometimes they're not going to be the people in your town, and they are going to be online, and that's okay. People who treasure your soul, who will cheer for you, who will hold you accountable, all of that is going to help your feminine glow up. So I could talk for another hour, but I'm not going to. I'm going to close out this video with a big thank you to you guys for following along this far into the video. If you haven't yet, like the video. It does help other feminine women find this content. Subscribe, join the feminine family. I believe we are over 200K officially, and it is time to do a 200K Q&A. So keep that on your radar. Follow me on Instagram if you're interested in more day-to-day content. And I do have a vlog coming up. We went to New York City for a wedding. It was amazing. I love New York City. I can't wait to go back, but I have a vlog coming up for that. Thank you again to Lily Silk for sponsoring today's video. I'm obsessed with this blouse. I think I might be buried in it. It's beautiful. I love it. Check out my pinned comment and the description below for more information on our partnership and the discounts you guys can get from that. I'm always looking for more suggestions on video topics you guys want to see, so keep that in mind. But in general, I hope you guys just have a wonderfully blessed and feminine week, my beautiful sisters.